Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, welcome back. Dr. Jaws here, and tonight we are covering the Hidden Angelshark, Squatina occulta. This is a really cool species, very rare, critically endangered species, and it's going to be the focus of tonight, but we're also going to cover its cousins, a variety of angel shark species, including some species that have footage, which I'm really excited to review. And also, we're going to have some surprises in store regarding just coral reef ecosystems and how they work as far as like large megafauna biodiversity from around the world. So I'm excited to take a look at that. And then finally, if we have some time, I found this really cool resource from the Virginia Institute of Marine Science that is new about sharks. So I'm excited to kind of share that just for fun. But most importantly, happy holidays. We're getting close to the holiday season of 2024, or I guess we're in the holiday season of 2024 already. But yeah, hey Howard, good evening to you too. What's up? Welcome back. Hope you had a really good weekend. We had a very chill weekend, thank goodness, because we've been busy. We've been doing a lot of. I feel like this year has been a lot of just traveling and visiting family, and so it's been just a lot of it's been a lot. So this was our first weekend in a while where we've actually kind of took it easy and just relaxed, and it was a really nice break and much needed break. It's been 2024 has been a busy year, so it's hard to believe that's almost it's not almost over, but it's kind of winding down. But hope you had a good weekend and did something fun, and I hope you're getting into the holiday spirit. What I've been doing, I think I'm halfway through all my present shopping. Or I guess more than halfway through, and then we have the tree set up and everything, so I'm excited. So, but this is such a wonderful picture of the hidden angel shark, or I should say, illustration of the hidden angel shark, Squatina occulta. So thank you so much for sharing this, Howard. I really love the front on profile, and I love the attention to detail with the color pattern of the species, as well as the attention to the nasal barbels. For angel sharks, it's kind of sometimes hard to tell them apart based on color alone. So there's physical features like nasal barbels that are helpful as far as kind of differentiating between species. I really like that you captured kind of angel shark species can vary in their shape, where some of them kind of have more of a rounded shape as far as their head and pectoral fins go. And I feel like Squatina occulta is one of those more rounded angel sharks. Whereas others, like the classic angel shark, and I would say maybe even the sand devil, kind of have more of a squared off shape, kind of more of a pointy, angular shape with their fins. It really depends on the species, and we'll compare species tonight, but this is just really cool. It's a really wonderful piece of art. I really love the eyes on this also. He has a very intense look, and I really like how you capture that. Angel sharks, I would say, aside from their extreme shape, they're one of my favorites as far as the subtle features. They have usually crests over their eyes, so they have kind of that cool almost dinosaur looking look, kind of like bullhead sharks do. Because other sharks, the classic ground sharks, their eyes are flush with their head, but angel sharks and bullhead sharks, they have these really cool ridges or crests over their eyes, so they make you think of a T-Rex or something, which I think is really cool. I love how you capture that, as well as the spiracles far behind the eyes. The big head being clearly separated from the pectoral fins, which is how you can tell this group of sharks apart from rays, and how this group of sharks is classified as a shark versus a ray. Rays, as we all know, have their pectoral fins fused to their heads, while sharks have their pectoral fins separate from their heads. So really cool attention to detail. I really love the front on perspective. And yeah, just well done. This is really great, Howard. Oh, Christmas party Saturday. Awesome. Well, I hope that's super fun. Do you guys is there any traditions as far as food or things anybody makes? I usually, for late winter, I haven't done this for Christmas yet. I should probably do that. But for late winter, I usually make Nanaimo bars, which is thank you Canada. It's an amazing dessert, and I really wish the United States had more of these, or I wish they were popular in the United States. I don't think a lot of Americans know what they are, but they're amazing. Gosh, they taste so good. So I make those later in the year. Around this time of year, I usually make these really cool New York chocolate chip cookies that are just big and puffy. So they're the the Levain bakery cookies. They're just made a little bit differently, where they kind of are like chocolate chip cakes, so they're really really good, really tasty. And then I think that's kind of like mostly my holiday traditions. But if you or your family or friends do anything in particular, please feel free to share, because it's just that it's just that time of year. But yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll lead in with angel sharks. I do want to kind of share this cool guide from Vim's, which has all these sharks in Virginia, so we'll kind of save that for the end. But let's take a look at angel sharks in general. We don't have footage of this particular species. It's a very rare species from South America, and it is critically endangered. So there's not a lot of interactions with it. There's actually not a lot of photographs of the hidden angel shark either. And it's actually a little scary that it's a critically endangered species, but we can take a look at some of its cousins and kind of get an idea of how it may move, or what it may look like. So starting with, we'll take a look at some footage of the classic angel shark. This is Squatina. So this one it's actually beautiful footage of this species. This is the, I'm pretty sure the classic angel shark is like the first angel shark discovered, and it's like the type species for the entire genus Squatina. But what's interesting is that it's a very unique species as far as like it has these beautiful lines, these kind of like light patches. Like you can see these striations, I guess, or like lines down the back. Like this pair of lines down the back, and also kind of along the pectoral fins. And it's so subtle, but it's so beautiful and completely unique. There's no other angel shark that looks like that. So you can immediately tell that this is a classic angel shark. It's just called angel shark in English, because of those unique lines. So I would not mind if they called it like the striped angel shark or like the banded angel shark or something. So like all angel sharks, this is a bottom-dwelling species that patrols close to the seabed and finds a spot where it can bury itself in the sand. Oh, there's a little hand. We've got more of this particular species, and actually some good shots of it burying itself. So here's one hugging the seabed, and it was kind of cool. You could see that the tail is really flush and flat as well with the ocean floor. But here is a angel shark finding a good spot to position itself, and then once it feels comfortable, it will go ahead and do this like kind of rhythmic, I guess you could say contracting motion, where it will. It's kind of like a crab. It will just bury itself in the sand. Flounders do that too, where they'll rapidly kind of pile sand on themselves. There he goes. So he's starting to do it a little bit. So this is actually really cool. So it almost looks like he's sucking in water really quickly, and also kind of slamming himself down on the seabed to kind of start burying himself and start this process. This is also why I mentioned angel shark eyes earlier, how they have these cool raised crests. But you can see why that's a really cool adaptation. The raised eyes are to help the shark see its surroundings pretty clearly, so it could be like these eyes above the ocean floor, as opposed to being flush with the body, which is very flat. But it's a master of camouflage. Look at that. Look how effectively this shark buried itself. So it's already has this beautiful color pattern that resembles the seafloor. But look, like at a distance, it's just so well hidden. Oops. No ads. Sorry about that. So it's a really remarkable adaptation. It's a really cool species. So, oh cool, turkeys, yams, stuffing, and gravy. We also do shortbread and Nanaimo bars. Nice. So we usually do turkey as well. We don't usually do stuffing and gravy as much. But like, man, the Nanaimo bars are so good. I've never had a like proper or like I guess I've made proper ones, but I've never like seen one in the wild. I've never had one in the wild, as far as just like going to a store and buying one. I've just made them from scratch, but like they're just so good. So yeah, that's just go Canada. That's just a really cool treat. So I think I have one more shot of this one. Is a little angel shark. And it is Squatina, so it's the same species as the first two clips. So this species can be found in the Mediterranean, and I think in parts of the Eastern Atlantic as well, so European waters. but it is also critically endangered, unfortunately. Because it spends so much time on the seabed, it unfortunately is a victim of bottom trawling. So when fishermen are going after usually shrimp or other kind of bottom-dwelling animals, they will catch angel sharks in those nets. So that's probably one of the biggest threats facing this group of sharks. Some angel sharks are doing really well. I keep saying the sand devil, also known as the Atlantic angel shark, Squatina demeral, is least concern. It's an American species that is doing perfectly fine, but other species like this classic angel... Oh, great shot of the angel shark being a fantastic ambush predator. But unfortunately, this species is not doing as well at all. It was a really great shot. Let's take a look at that one more time. This is by a channel called Live Science, and I'm going to just go ahead and subscribe and like. Live Science clip of angel sharks. That's a really great shot of a passing... I wonder what kind of fish that is, because it almost looks like a puffer fish based on the color pattern. But I think it's a completely different group. So, but you can just see the shark. Actually, can we see that in slow motion? I love that YouTube allows you to slow everything down. So we'll see that in really slow motion. So you can see the shark watching this fish. The fish is passing right in front of the top of the head, so right near the mouth. Angel sharks have like kind of like a bear trap jaw. Yeah, it's not really high definition, but it basically is like launching a bear trap into underwater. It's just this long, wide, flat jaw that just snaps shut. So it's very effective. Also, I almost showed this tonight, but I thought better of it. There is on YouTube of the diver harassing an angel shark, and the angel shark immediately moves up and bites the diver. So this group of sharks, you shouldn't be harassing any shark, period. But this group of sharks especially, like these actually are very feisty sharks, and they do not like being touched or harassed or in any way. So if you do come across one, admire it from a distance, but just make sure you don't touch it, and please don't provoke it if you're underwater diving with it, because it will launch up and bite you. And that's part of oh nice, my grandmother's baking was off the hook. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna star that actually. That's really cool. Oh, sorry about the audio being fuzzy. Let's see if that, hold on, I'm gonna switch a setting here to see if that will improve it. But in America, the Atlantic angel sharks is also known as the sand devil, and it's called the sand devil because of its bite. Fishermen hated getting this species, like if they do bottom trawling and they have a sand devil or Atlantic angel shark in their net, they hated getting it because they would have to remove it, and they know that this species just really has this nasty habit of biting. So it's just not a group of sharks. No group of shark is okay to touch or mess with, but this one especially. This group of sharks is very feisty. It has needle sharp teeth and just is, yeah, you don't want to mess with it. So here's an adorable baby angel shark doing a great job hiding in the seabed. So you can see this group of sharks is very popular with dive ecotourism in Europe. So it's really cool that people are able to dive with them so freely. So it's just, again, it's a really cool group. Okay, perfect. Audio is okay. Thank you, Howard. It's a really cool group of sharks. In the Pacific, so looking at the Pacific angel shark, this is the one that I think most North Americans are familiar with. This is on the West Coast. I think the range is California northward to Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, so I'll have to double check that. But it is a popular Pacific species, and you can immediately see a little bit of a difference between this and the classic angel shark, mostly in the rosettes. So this angel shark, the Squatina californica, the Pacific angel shark, has these really pretty spots, like these really pretty rosettes, and it spends a lot of its time in kelp forest and sandy seabed areas around kelp forest. So kind of a different environment altogether, but still really cool part of the angel shark family. Angel sharks have one family and actually one family, one genus, one order. So it's all Squatina, Squatiniforms, Squatinidae, and Squatina. So it's a group of, I think, about a dozen or more species. So, and what's really cool, when I was growing up, I knew that this one existed, but I had no idea that the Atlantic angel shark was a thing. So it was really cool, kind of when I, in my college years, kind of learning more about Chesapeake Bay sharks and East Coast sharks, learning that there is actually there's a shark on both sides of the United States, or an angel shark on both sides of the United States, and it's just really cool. Because I always thought this was one of the coolest sharks, and I kind of wish it was near where I lived, and turns out there is one near where I lived. There's not a lot of footage of sand devils, though, unfortunately, but here's a Pacific angel shark burying itself in the seabed, so it's kind of cool to see the same kind of action. Again, really pretty spots. It's really cool to think about the evolution of these sharks, where each one is in a different part of the ocean and has a different color pattern, and it's the optimal color pattern for that surrounding. So here you can actually see the seabed in these Pacific waters has this weird mix of like black and white shells or bits. So the black actually might be from sea urchins. It could be wrong, but California kelp forest famously have like purple sea urchins everywhere. So I wonder if some of like the black bits here are like just pieces of sea urchin, and then the white bits, being just other kind of mollusk shells. Could be wrong, but that might be what the composition is. But that mix of dark and light, it's kind of cool to see that this angel shark has these dark spots on a light background, and it's optimal for camouflaging itself in this kind of environment. So, by the way, this channel is Dibrem. This is one of the best shark footage channels on YouTube, and not exaggerating. It definitely needs a lot more support, so please like and subscribe. DIBREM. They have amazing footage of sharks around the world, and I'm putting together like a playlist of some of my favorite sharks. It's like a shark scuba dive playlist, and a lot of it is Dibrem footage. They're really, really cool, and they get a lot of great shots of like bull sharks, basking sharks, dogfish. Like they get a lot of cool species, including this Pacific angel shark. So definitely like them a lot. I definitely like their style a lot. So. And shark footage on YouTube is really fun because it's a very small community. There's not a lot of shark clips. I mean, there's like a lot of shark clips for like, fishing, unfortunately, or, news stories, but there's not a lot of just like pure scuba diving ecotourism clips. So it's a really, like that part of the community is really fun, where it's like, there's just really cool footage just of dives around the world with these amazing animals, and a variety of them too. And I think the libraries of just what you can find on YouTube is just expanding, which is really cool to see. But yeah, Pacific angel shark. So, move on to, I think we have 3 more species. So it's kind of cool again to compare the color patterns between angel shark species. So this one is the Japanese angel shark. You can immediately tell a difference. This one, unfortunately, is a species or an individual in an aquarium, but you can clearly see. Oh, that's actually really cool. I love that fin flex. You can clearly see a difference in the color pattern, where this one has kind of like a brown background, but then these like really cool like light honeycombs all around it, and then these like brown spots in the middle of those brown patches in the middle of the honeycombs. So it's very subtle and yet very distinct from the other 2 species. So the classic angel shark has the stripes, the Pacific angel shark has the black rosettes, and then the Japanese angel shark has like this really cool white honeycomb pattern with the brown spots. So, and this is what I'm talking about, where you can see that this shark has more rounded features. Like the head is more, kind of spherical. The fins are a little bit more rounded. Whereas the other 2 angel sharks kind of have more of that angular look. So that's kind of what I was referring to as far as like the artwork on the Hidden Angel Shark. Let me pull that up again. So how would your artwork on the Hidden Angel Shark? I feel like it captures that roundedness really, really well. Speaking of color pattern, again, this species has a unique pattern where it does have this like deep orange base with light spots. So I really appreciate that you captured that really well, Howard. So thank you again for submitting this. This is super cool looking for a very rare, a critically endangered rare species. So really great, excuse me, really great job on that. Squatina Guggenheim is next. I'm trying to remember the common name, and I have my copy of Sharks of the World right here, so I'm just gonna double check what the common name of that is, because I can't remember off the top of my head. This, I believe, is another European species, if I'm not mistaken. Mediterranean Sea has quite a few angel sharks in it. Where is Guggenheim? There we go, the angular angel shark. And I'm actually incorrect. This is from the Southwest Atlantic. So this is actually in the same range as the hidden angel shark. So tonight species. So this is a species that lives in the same range. So this is actually an especially cool clip because this is a little preview of what the hidden angel shark's world is like. But yeah, some observations about the color pattern for Squatina Guggenheim. Looks pretty. It's actually, I like how it's like keeping its fins angled, and I wonder if that is intentional. That's actually a little odd that it's doing that. Let me check that. Let's take a look at that one more time. So here he is, kind of propped up on the seabed. Now he's moving from his spot. And his pectoral fins are angled upward, which is a little unusual, and it could be a communication, like a threat display, meaning back off. Some sharks do angle their pectoral fins downward as a sign of "don't touch me" or "back off" or "you're irritating me." Famously, gray reef sharks do that, where they will angle the pectoral fins as a warning of like "I do not like you in my space." And that could be what's happening with this particular species. It's just the opposite direction. The fins flared up. Some of the angel shark clips on YouTube in which classic angel sharks, Squatina, are harassed when divers like try to tickle them, and these sharks like swim off the seabed. They will swim with one pectoral fin up and the other down, which again could be a threat display. It could be a sign of, hey, you're bothering me. And we have to remember that, there is a diver in the water filming this individual and maybe getting too close for this shark's comfort. So it's such a strange movement that the shark is swimming with the fins upward. I don't believe that that's its normal state because, as we know, sharks are all cartilaginous, and, cartilage is very flexible. And I would say the most relaxed state for the shark is just the fins being kind of flat and flush with the rest of the body. So I think this individual is actually kind of irritated by the diver and signaling that it does not want the diver to get closer. So we'll take a look one more time, because if that's the case, that's actually really interesting behavior. And it's also really cool to see that sharks are able to articulate their pectoral fins to such a degree, to a certain degree. Famously, epaulet sharks use their fins to walk on the seabed. As I said, gray reef sharks, they angle their fins downward. I think sand tigers do that as well. They'll angle their pectoral fins downward as a threat display, just saying back off, I don't like you being here. And I would not be surprised if that's what this angel shark is doing. So that's actually really cool. Oh, Howard, this is cool. It looks like he's using his fins to slow down as he scans for prey. I like that. Maybe, potentially. It's almost whale shark-like, the patternation of the hidden angel shark. Oh, cool. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. There's one more angel shark we have footage of. This is Squatina nebulosa. And this is actually really cool to see a diver kind of getting as close as he can without apparently disturbing this individual. So this one is nebulosa. There's actually quite a few dozen species. I got that slightly wrong. The clouded angel shark. So this is the Northwest Pacific. So this is actually Japan, or close to Japan. So, And this is already different. You can tell a difference between this and the Japanese angel shark. So the Japanese angel shark had like a honeycomb pattern. This one has these really cool, very complex. I love the ray just kind of like getting way too close for comfort. Look at the ray sitting on the shark's head. That's amazing. What an amazing meeting of the Lazarbanks. Oh my gosh. And the shark probably knows he can't eat the ray because the ray has like, that is a stingray, so the ray definitely has a thorny barbel. But this one is really cool. So Clouded Angel Shark has a mix of dark and white spots. The dark spots are much larger. And then the white spots kind of make these broken lines, like these broken serrations. This diver is not doing a good job. You really should not be touching marine life like this. And they kind of teach you that in Diving 101, at least for like some of the reputable schools. They teach you do not touch wildlife, do not touch marine life. You're kind of harassing it. Let it come to you, but otherwise, like, don't touch it. So, but anyway, it's really cool to see though that the shark is at least seemingly calm. It's also, again, a risk to be touching angel sharks because these sharks have such a vicious bite, and they have been known to bite humans, when humans get too close. It's kind of funny that, again, I love this shot of this ray just kind of sitting on it. That's kind of adorable. But yeah, this is also good. At least this is a good size comparison. You can see that this angel shark, like a lot of angel sharks, it can be as large as a human. So it's actually pretty cool to see. It's also cool to see that this particular shark physically is a lot stockier looking. Some angel sharks are a little bit more flat looking, but this one is a little bit more rounded on the back. So it's a really beautiful animal. So, Howard, yes, big angel shark. This one's particularly large. So I love the color pattern on it, and I think that's something I love about all angel sharks. Is, again, they're all very different. The one in my backyard, the sand devil, it kind of has like a bluish gray pattern. It's a range of bluish gray to brown, and it's kind of more like just a straight color. It has like occasional spots here and there, but it's not as complex as the other angel sharks we've seen. So it's pretty cool to see. So with that, we can transition to the hidden angel shark. This is tonight's species, discovered in 1991. So fairly recent-ish. I mean, I guess it's old enough, but and Howard, this is related to what you said in the chat. Yes, so I could definitely see the resemblance between this and a whale shark as far as the color pattern goes, where you have this really nice dark base and then these beautiful white spots. This is a deceased individual, and it still is a really pretty pattern because in living individuals, the coloration would be a lot stronger. That base would be a lot deeper looking and the spots would be a lot lighter. But even so, this deceased kind of hidden angel shark still has a really pretty pattern here. So you can see the pectoral fins slightly smaller proportionally than other angel sharks. Definitely the pelvic fins noticeably smaller. Other angel sharks have pretty large pelvic fins that typically are flush with the pectoral fins, but this particular shark is kind of more stocky in build with smaller fins. The head is nice and rounded and also pretty big. And actually the trunk is a little large as well, so with smaller caudal fins. So pretty cool shark physically, looks a little bit different. But the color pattern, again, is unique, and it's unlike the other sharks that we've seen, where you have this nice light brown to pale orange kind of color with light speckles. So, and with this kind of cool bar between the eyes too. That's actually a really pretty detail here. So it's a very pretty species. I hope we can find photos of it in life. That might be unlikely. So here is a photo. Yeah, this is probably a really damaged individual. It just looks a lot more dried out, and those look like kind of thorns, so that might not be the best picture of it. But that's what we can learn on fish base. So, Squatina occulta. Occulta is Latin for hidden or concealed, referring to its identity having remained hidden among a group of morphologically similar sympatric species. So I guess this is a species hiding in plain sight, famously like the Carolina hammerhead or the Pacific spiny dogfish. These are two sharks that were originally thought to be parts of other species, but in fact they're their own unique species. So it looks like Squatina occulta is no exception. I'm curious what kind of angel shark it was confused with. So, and then for reference, the Carolina hammerhead was confused with the scalloped hammerhead. They do look exactly the same. It's a very subtle difference in their backbone, their number of vertebrae. The Pacific spiny dogfish it used to be confused with the classic spiny dogfish or the pike dogfish, but there's also a subtle difference in vertebral counts too between the two species, and those two species also live on opposite sides of North America, so they don't live in the same range. And then I think there's one more. I think the classic black tip shark versus the Australian black tip. I think that was another kind of confusion. My favorite one, which I don't think they've made a lot of progress on, is bull sharks, where we think that there might be a few different kinds of species misnamed bull sharks. So there might be actually a few different kinds of species that are currently considered to be bull sharks that actually occupy different populations that are just too different and different enough to be different species. So it's like one of them, I really hope if they do identify as a different species, I hope they call it the Zambezi shark, because that would be just super cool. For anyone who knows, like, bull sharks in South Africa used to be called Zambezi sharks, and they did like a really cool, like a really scary nature special. I remember in the 2000s about Zambezi sharks being the most dangerous shark in the world. So, but anyway, but yeah, it's currently under debate. How many bull sharks there are. So, but yeah, Squatina occulta, the hidden angel shark. I'm curious to see who it was confused with, so we'll keep reading. Oh, here we go. That's actually a pretty good description for fish base. Usually fish base is really brief. So, this species is distinguished by its unique dorsal color pattern with a uniform light to dark brown background color, with numerous white to yellowish rounded small spots on the entire dorsal surface. Squatina Guggenheim, so that was the one that we saw with the flared fins. It looks like it was confused with this species. Let's see. There's also Squatina argentina, which lives in the same area as well. Let me look up who that is. The Argentine angel shark. It's kind of obvious. I should have suspected that, but sometimes a shark will be named something. Like the horn shark is Heterodontus sanfrancisci, and he's not called the San Francisco shark. He's called the horn shark. So you never know. So. Let's see. I don't think there's more information on fish base other than it's critically endangered. So, and we can look more closely at that on the IUCN Red List. So let's take a look at that. This is the hidden angel shark, critically endangered, and this is where it lives. So this is southern Brazil and Uruguay and Argentina. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is temperate water. So I'm not 100% sure about Rio de Janeiro, if that's temperate or subtropical, but I believe this is temperate. So we'll take a look at the description. Assessment information in detail. The hidden angel shark is a medium-sized shark endemic to the southwest Atlantic, inhabiting waters from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to Buenos Aires province, Argentina, and likely further south to the northern Patagonia, Argentina region. It is mainly found on the continental shelf at depths of 10 to 150 meters, but has been found at depths to 350 meters. The species' low reproductive potential, litter size of 4 to 10, so it's kind of on the smaller side for sharks, and a possible 3 to 5 year... Oh, that's really bad, actually. A possible 3 to 5 year female breeding cycle. That's really slow, actually. Ooh. So for context, one of the worst reproductive rates for sharks is the dusky shark, Carcharodon obscurus, which is an endangered species. I think it might be critically endangered now as well. And they do a 3-year long reproductive cycle where females will be pregnant for 18 months, and then they take an 18-month break. So overall it's about 3 years. If this angel shark, if it does at least a 3-year cycle, and at most a 5-year cycle, I mean that's incredibly worse. That is really, really significantly different. I can't imagine a 5-year reproductive cycle for an animal where gestation itself might be short, but the actual recovery period just must be really long for the species. But that's really bad when you complement that with fishing pressure. That's one of the that is actually literally the worst I've seen for sharks. That is the worst reproductive rate theoretically of any shark species I've ever seen. So that's a shame. So that's already a big indicator of why this species might be critically endangered. So the species' low reproductive potential, together with its susceptibility to capture in both trawl and gillnet gear, makes it highly susceptible to population depletion. Angel sharks are heavily fished in southern Brazil, and significant reductions have been documented there. In the period from 1988 to 2002, on the continental shelf of southern Brazil, the abundance of Squatina species, angel sharks, was reduced by approximately 85%. This is really bad. And benthic trawl fishing continued to intensively exploit this population in more recent years. In the same region, scientific fishing cruises conducted between 1986 and 2001 using bottom trawls revealed that the frequency of occurrence and CPUE, so this is catch per unit effort, it's a basic measurement for that scientists use, I guess fishermen use too, but it's a basic measurement of how efficiently you catch a species, and it can be a good indicator of whether or not a species is abundant in an area. Kilograms per hour was the number of individuals per hour of the species was reduced by 80%, confirming trends observed in commercial fisheries. Okay, so just to kind of recap that, so fishermen by their own business have independently recorded a 85% decline in this species, and then scientists who independently mimic fishing practices and to try to get an estimate of this species are coming up with the same numbers. So that cross-reference of data is really scary, where it's like, okay, we can likely predict that this species is definitely declining. This kind of surveying is very popular in the scientific community and very important in the scientific community. Shout out to the Virginia Institute of Marine Science, as well as this is the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. These are two local research programs that do the same thing, where they will go out and mimic longline stations or fishing stations to try to get the catch per unit effort of sharks in the Atlantic, the Mid-Atlantic coast of the United States. And it's a very important research tool to kind of do the same thing, mimic like, okay, how are the sharks doing year over year? If you collect that data year over year, you can see the value in that data set. You can see trends over time. So it's a really important part of fisheries as far as or fisheries research and fisheries science, as far as just kind of keeping a track and keeping an eye on how certain populations are doing. So. But yeah, species reduced by 80%, confirming trends observed in commercial fisheries. In Argentina, trawl catches of Squatina underwent a reduction of 58% in the years in 1992 to 1998. That's 6 years. It's so short, showing a continuing negative trend since then. These are the equivalent of a greater than 99% reduction over 3 generation lengths, so 46.5 years. However, there may be other areas within its range where fishing intensity is not as high. The catch and trade of the species has been banned in Brazil since 2004, but is still targeted illegally and caught as bycatch and sold in markets. Given the species' relatively low productivity, the presence of intensive fisheries throughout the species range, and the level of localized reductions reported, the hidden angel shark is inferred to have undergone a population reduction of over 80% over 3 generation lengths, so it's 46.5 years across its range, and is therefore assessed as critically endangered. So that's really bad, and unfortunately a lot of angel sharks are in a similar boat. So, let's take a look at how angel sharks are doing. And I also want to do this kind of to be on a bright note, because some angel sharks, again, are doing well, but that's really bad. So, ooh, sorry, Howard, I just saw this comment. How about a Matawan shark? That would be really cool. I actually really love that. This is referring to that bull shark species complex. I would love that. I think that'd be really cool. So if I remember correctly, the 3 subpopulations of bull sharks are the Atlantic Ocean, South Africa, and then the Indo-Pacific. So you could name the Atlantic one the Matawan shark, the South African one the Zambezi shark, and the Indo-Pacific one the bull shark. You could do that. I kind of want to keep bull shark for the Atlantic personally, because the species was named in the Atlantic. The type specimen was collected, I think, from the Caribbean, and I'm pretty sure it was the Caribbean where they collected the first bull shark and named it. So I kind of want to keep it for Atlantic population, but if it has to be given a name, Matawan is a great. Matawan is a very that's. Well, I shouldn't say it's a deep cut, because I don't want to be disrespectful to the incidents, but like that would be a very good choice. That's definitely in reference to the Matawan Creek shark attacks, the infamous shark attacks that inspired Jaws. Yeah, that would be quite the name for that subpopulation of species of bull sharks. So, but here we go. This is going to be a comparison of angel sharks. So as a whole. I would say angel sharks are probably the most vulnerable order, arguably the most vulnerable family or genus of sharks, period. It's like, I can't think of another group of sharks, like maybe river sharks, like Glyphis, or hammerheads, like Serenidae. Those are all not doing so well as a group. But angel sharks in particular, they're not doing well at all, so... We've got the classic angel shark, again with the beautiful lines, critically endangered. Indonesian angel shark is endangered. The eastern angel shark is vulnerable. Hidden angel shark is critically endangered. The Argentine angel shark is critically endangered. Chilean angel shark, critically endangered. So this is really bad. Some good news, the ornate angel shark is fine, least concern. The Vari's angel shark, Western angel shark, and Australian angel shark also least concern. African angel shark is nearly threatened, so not as bad. The sawback angel shark, critically endangered. Angular angel shark, Squatina guggenheim, is endangered. So the 3 South American species that we've seen, the angular angel shark, the Argentine angel shark, and the hidden angel shark, these are all doing horribly in this region, so it's really scary actually. Taiwan angel shark, ocellated angel shark, and clouded angel shark are all endangered. The clouded angel shark, that was the one that we saw, the big one with the diver in that clip, so really not doing well. The smoothback angel shark, critically endangered. David's angel shark, near threatened. Pacific angel shark is near threatened. The Atlantic angel shark, this is also known as the sand devil, it's actually least concerned, it's okay. It's actually increasing in population, which is kind of remarkable. Small crested angel shark is also least concerned. The Japanese angel shark is critically endangered. Leah's angel shark and Caliet's angel shark, these are 2 new species. We don't know how they're doing. So again, as a group, you can see that quite a few of them are in a really bad spot. I think we can filter redlist categories. We've got 8 species that are critically endangered, 4 endangered, 1 that's vulnerable, 3 that is near threatened, and 6 that are least concerned, and 2 that are data deficient. So this is in the left side here. So as a whole, the family, more than half of the species are not just vulnerable, but they're endangered. So as a research focus, angel sharks are a really good group to focus on. As a conservation focus, it's a fantastic group to really bring more attention to. And also, I have to say it, I mean, now that I think about it, they really don't have a lot of limelight in pop culture. Usually angel sharks are referred to passingly in a shark special where they talk about how they are ambush predators, and that's really it. But if there's any species or any group of sharks that deserves a whole special or attention or conservation effort, angel sharks really are it. And there are some organizations that are doing things to help them. So let's take a look at the Shark Trust. So this is I think this is United Kingdom. I know this is based in Europe, but Shark Trust does a lot of charity work and conservation work for sharks in general. I think they do have a focus on angel sharks. So let's see. I'm just gonna read the summary and kind of shout out some interesting features that kind of pop out. So. Angel sharks are perfectly designed for ambush. They have large, stocky, flattened body, along with huge pectoral fins, enable them to fan out a depression in the seabed. Here they lie in wait, partially covered in sand, for prey to pass by. They remain in a torpid state and are often reluctant to move during the day. Kind of love that. Angel sharks have unusually flexible necks, allowing them to raise their heads and trap-like jaw to snap up prey at high speed. Oh, this is cool. An incredible adaptation of sharks is their spiracles behind their eyes. These are modified gills that deliver oxygen straight to the brain and allow them to breathe while buried under the sand. That's actually extremely cool. Again, here's a list of all the angel sharks. So we've got sawback angel shark, African angel shark, Argentine angel shark, the sand devil. Love that they're using the right name for that species. Angel shark, Chilean angel shark, Australian angel shark, Philippines angel shark, Pacific angel shark, Taiwan angel shark, angular angel shark, Japanese angel shark, Indonesian angel shark, Eastern angel shark. See, there's quite a lot. Clouded angel shark, hidden angel shark, smoothback angel shark, western angel shark, ornate angel shark, ocellated angel shark, David's angel shark, Vari's angel shark, and the small crested angel shark. Let's see. Oh, there's actually a couple things I do want to take a look at. So download our angel shark poster. That'd be great to compare the species. And here we go, look at this. We can compare the species. This is so great, actually. Alright, so this is great artwork by, is this Mark Dando's art? I think it is. Make sure I got that right. Yes, this is Mark Dando art. So there we go, because these are the Shark of the World images. So, all right, Mark Dando is one of the best in the business. So here we go as far as shark arts go. So let's take. Oh yeah, and there's yeah, I got it. All right, so this is going to be really cool to compare. So we'll take a look. Here's the Pacific angel shark, Squatina californica. Oh, this is great. You have their statuses here. So. I'll shout out the status if it's a critically endangered or endangered species, but this is a really, really great chart. Yes, absolutely. And actually, let me put this in a chat for if anybody wants to take another look at it. I just saw your comment, Howard. Yes, for sure. It's a really beautiful chart. So here's a Pacific angel shark. This one's doing okay. Great art on the Australian angel shark. So, least concern. So it's nice to see that this one's doing alright as well. Here's my boy, the Sand Devil, Squatina dumeral, also known as the Atlantic angel shark. And this is what I mean by, in artwork it's depicted as blue, but in life it's like blue, gray, brown, it can kind of vary in color. I think Sand Devils are unique in that they are kind of maybe the most... plain of the angel sharks. They kind of don't have as striking patterns as other angel sharks do. What is kind of cool about sand devils is that they do have thorns and they have sexual dimorphism where males actually have thorny fins and females have smooth fins. So it's actually kind of a cool, very subtle feature between males and females as far as angel sharks go. So it's a really cool illustration of a sand devil. It's a species that even though it's all over the east coast of the United States. It doesn't have a lot of footage. There isn't a lot of photographs of it, so it's kind of cool to see this piece of art on it. So just wanted to spend some time. This is one of my favorite sharks, honestly. It's the one in my backyard, so it's really fun. The African angel shark is near threatened. Really cool. I don't know if you can see this sawback feature. It's really, really cool how distinct that is. Here's the smoothback angel shark. So this one, Squatina oculata, and again, it's not our species. It's a similarly named species. Is critically endangered. So And this one has these really pretty, like, large dark spots on the pectoral fins. And kind of a cute frog face. He has kind of a smushed face. So here's another critically endangered angel shark. This is the sawback angel shark, Squatina aculeata. And it's cool to see the different color morphs. And again, it's kind of interesting to apply that to the sand devil as well, because you can see that the same species can be like very different colors, like the orange or the gray. Same thing with sand devils; it could be this dark blue-gray to like a brown color. So here's a western angel shark, Squatina pseudo-ocellata. Very small species with really, look at this, very pretty light blue spots on it. Look at that. It almost reminds me of some Indo-Pacific stingrays. Have a really pretty like olive green color pattern with bright blue spots. So that's actually a really cool pattern on angel sharks. The Philippine angel shark is up here. Very pretty little guy. The ocellated angel shark, also a nice cream color over here. Endangered species. This one is endangered. It has a pretty big head as well. The Taiwan angel shark, Squatina formosa, this is also endangered. The Argentine angel shark, here we go. This one is critically endangered. Really pretty blue eyes here. Yeah, very pretty shark. So, living in the same range as the hidden angel shark. So. Here's a Chilean angel shark, Squatina armata, also critically endangered. Very distinct ridges here in front of the eyes, so, and also very distinct thorns on the back. Very cool adaptation. Kind of like that. Again, it's a flat shark, but you know, there's some features that make you think of dinosaurs a little bit, like these cool little spikes on the back, and like, you know, the big trap jaws, and like the crests over the eyes. You know, there's some features there. Here's one, the Japanese angel shark. So this is critically endangered species. We'll zoom out. Here is our shark, the hidden angel shark, Squatina oculata. So again, Howard, you did a really good job capturing the art of this species. So, but you have that, again, that rich, beautiful, like kind of like burnt orange, deep orange color with the spots kind of drawing from it. So. Critically endangered Squatina occulta. My apologies, I mispronounced that. Squatina occulta. Just such a rich color on that species. So really, really beautiful shark. The Indonesian angel shark, really cool. Almost looks like a deep water species with that creepy eye. But this is also critically endangered. The ornate angel shark. This one also has that same feature of the light blue spots against a yellowish background. This one, fortunately, is doing okay. This is a least concerned species. Vari's angel shark, which I think is new, is also least concerned. Very pretty, kind of like pale pink species here. The clouded angel shark, Squatina nebulosa, is endangered. David's angel shark, Squatina David, near threatened, so this one is also doing okay. Very, I don't know if this is specimen damage, but very interesting caudal feature here, where you kind of have this indentation. So that could be specimen damage as opposed to the actual feature of the species. But the eastern angel shark, very thorny, quite distinctive looking versus the other angel sharks. And you can already tell, but it's pretty cool to see how variable angel sharks are. So it's not this one kind of shark. It's a bunch of different species that, you know, have different color morphs and just different features. There's the angular angel shark, Squatina guggenheim. So this is the endangered species that lives in the same range as the hidden angel shark. Also has a nice thorny back. The small crested angel shark, which doesn't have art, recently discovered and described in 2021. And then finally, the classic angel shark. I love that this one is last. So this is Squatina, critically endangered species. I believe it's the first angel shark ever discovered And you can see even a difference in color pattern between the young and the adult. So the young angel sharks have more of a bluish pattern. The adults have more of like a sandy beige pattern, but all of them have like the beautiful stripes, the striations on the back. So, and here you go. Here is a view of all the angel sharks. So just as a nice comparison, you can see such a variety of colors, which relate to where they live in the ocean, where they live in the seabed. So some seabeds are sandy and bright and sandy. Some are rocky. Some have varying kinds of sediment beneath them. Some are muddy. Overall, it makes for a really beautiful variety of sharks, where you have quite a range of colors. To be honest, creams, beiges, grays, oranges, black, blues. It's really, really cool group. And each one has also different physical features. Some have like larger heads, some have accentuated barbels. Some of these really cool sawbacks, which I think it's kind of an intimidating feature, and I really like that. And also a lot have very different sizes. So angel sharks are a really cool group, and I'm really glad that the Shark Trust made. Oh yes, Howard, absolutely. I'm going to start at the diversity of angel sharks is amazing. Absolutely, I definitely agree with that. And I really appreciate Shark Trust UK making a chart of angel sharks, so you can kind of compare and see how they look, and kind of see the variety and diversity. So it's kind of cool. Also about angel sharks in general, most sharks are wide-ranging and they kind of span the globe, but angel sharks, as far as sharks go, they're kind of some of the more endemic species. Like they're kind of some of the more like regionally locked species or regionally bound species, because they live on the seabed, so they don't really do the extensive migrations that other sharks do. Like they kind of have more localized ranges. So what's cool about that is each one looks different, and how it looks kind of reflects where it comes from. So each one is kind of like a different morph for a different part of the sea. That's something I really like about this group of sharks, and something I really like about like reef sharks, kind of like the carpet sharks, or some of the cat sharks. Like I love that the colors say something about the environment that it comes from. So it's really cool, really cool group of sharks. And sharks typically are a lot more wide-ranging than angel sharks, so it's kind of cool to see a group of sharks be more regionally focused, and kind of reflect the region that they come from. I just think it's really, really cool. This is a really good cup of tea, by the way. I put in lemon black tea and then lemon herbal tea, so it's a super, super lemon combo. But it's working. It's very comforting. It's a cold December night, so. There is. It's not this. There is a very important group. I'm trying to remember who. There is a very important conservation group for angel sharks, and I'm trying to remember who they are. Let's see if they have a link to that. And I might have to skip that for now, just to make sure we cover everything tonight. But maybe I'll just Google angel shark conservation, because I know there's one. There's a famous one. Angel shark conservation. That's not Shark Trust. It might be this one, Angel Shark Conservation Network. I think it's this one. Not recognizing I see it. And if it's the one I think of, just yes, I think this is it actually. Yeah, because this is Canary Islands. Okay, this is it. So. I won't go into this. Yeah, this is definitely it. So I won't go into this website in detail, but I will put it in the chat. Angel Shark oh, sorry. Yeah. Audio fuzzy. It's probably because I, loaded this new website. But Angel Shark Conservation Network is probably one of the most important charities or non-profits related to angel sharks. It's definitely one that I've seen a couple times, and I know they do a lot of good work with angel sharks, so it's definitely worth checking out. So if you have a moment, just please explore kind of like what they do. I left the link in the chat. Just so you guys can like check it out. I know we won't. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Yeah. So sorry that kind of goofed up the audio for a bit, but it's an important website and it's an important group, so definitely worth checking out. Also, since we're talking about European shark conservation, Basking Shark UK, Basking Shark Scotland. Sorry about that. Basking Shark Scotland is a really cool group of people who raise a lot of awareness for basking sharks. So that's another good one. I feel like Shark Trust UK is a pretty good network of European shark conservation efforts. So and Angel Shark Conservation and Basking Shark Scotland. I think they all kind of liaison together a little bit. So, but just definitely check them out to just kind of explore what they do. So, what we'll do is we'll get into some research, and then we'll see if we can cover some of the cool papers that I had pulled up, kind of about this angel shark, but also just about shark science in general. And then I think we'll wrap up with a cool little tour of Virginia sharks. Vim's published a new guide. Well, it's new-ish, but it's unfortunately some of the material is kind of hard to find. So it's a newish guide on Virginia shark species. So I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. So, but order Squatina forms. Description. So the Latin name is from Squatum, which is the name for angel sharks during Pliny the Elder, Latin synonym for the Greek rhinus, the ancient name for sharks. Let's see. This is kind of like a guide to how the sharks got their name. I think we already know how Squatina occulta got its name. Occulta, Latin for hidden or concealed, referring to its identity having remained hidden among a group of morphologically similar sympatric species. So, Squatina from squatum, named for angel sharks dating to Pliny the Elder. Latin synonym of the Greek rhine, from rhinos, skin or hide of a beast, or rhine, rasp, both apparently alluding to the shark's rasp-like skin. It's kind of interesting. I really like word connections where, it can be as simple as it sounds, where Squatina, like squat, short, flat, there's a connection there. If anybody's like a fan of Lord of the Rings, J.R. Tolkien does a lot of that intentionally with how he names things. So one of my favorites is the ring wraiths, which are like the twisted forms of men corrupted by the ring of power. So the term ring wraith is intentional. Wraith is kind of like related to the word wreath or writhe. So these are twisted, gnarled things. So it's cool how words relate and how there's a lot of intentionality or kind of overlap there. And Squatina, it sounds silly because think of squat, flat, but that's literally what it means. Like Squatina, flat, squat, flat, flat shark. So sometimes the obvious choice is the obvious choice. Sometimes it is actually what it seems like. So let's see. Sharkreferences.com has a summary of the hidden angel shark. In Spanish is known as the angelito, or the pez angel. If this is Portuguese, I think it's a Portuguese flag. It's the Cação-anjo. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. In English, it's the Argentine angel shark, the hidden angel shark, or the smoothback angel shark. So these are very confusing English names. It really should only be the hidden angel shark because the other two belong to other species. So, not a lot of info on shark references, so we'll kind of keep moving. This one is really cool, actually. Yes, so we'll kind of take a look at this. Evolutionary trends of the conserved neurocranium shape in angel sharks. So here we go. Elazobranchs forms one of the most diverse group of marine predators. So elazobranchs are sharks, skates, and rays. Again, what's kind of cool is elazobranchs are not all cartilaginous fish. So the big group is cartilaginous fish, or chondrichthyans. And then you can break it up into chimeras and elazobranchs. So chimeras are the whole other different thing. Elazobranchs are sharks, skates, and rays. So those are two different parts of cartilaginous fish. Just kind of fun trivia. But Anyway, Elazarinx form one of the most diverse group of marine predators, with a fossil record extending back into the Devonian. So that is, what is that, 400 million years ago? 419 million years ago. Hey, yes, Howard. My snaggletooth shark needs a conservation group like that. I'm definitely going to start that. Absolutely agree with that. Because that's a snaggletooth shark, snaggletooth sharks, really cool group. And I love that. I think one of them is still named like fossil shark, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure I got that right. But the Hemipristis group is a really cool group of sharks that also deserve a lot more attention and are also not doing as well. So I'm just looking up really quickly. I could have sworn there's a Hemipristis called fossil shark, which is appropriately named because it's Hemipristis teeth are some of the most famous shark fossils and they're super impressive. Hemitriacus. I'm very curious about this now. I know this is in here. We have snaggletooth shark, which is Hemipristis elongata, but I thought there was one more, so I could be wrong about that. Sorry, now I'm kind of on this. So hold on. And actually, maybe you know before I do. A weasel shark network. I love that. Hemipristis. I'm just kind of Googling this right now. Hemipristis, genus of weasel sharks. Type species. Nope, it's just elongata. Okay, so I thought there was one called the fossil shark, but I'm mistaken. Sorry about that. So, anyway, with a fossil record extending back into the Devonian, or 400 million years ago, several modifications in their body plan illustrate their body shape diversity through time. The angel sharks, whose fossil record dates back to the late Jurassic, some 160 million years ago, have a dorsoventrally flattened body similar to skates and rays. Fossil skeletons of this group show that the overall morphology was well established earlier in its history. By examining the skull shape of well-preserved fossil material compared to extant angel sharks using geometric morphometric methods within a phylogenetic framework, we were able to determine the conservative skull shape among angel sharks with a high degree of integration. The morphospace occupation of extant angel sharks is rather restricted, with extensive overlap. Most of the differences in skull shape are related to their geographic distribution patterns. That is extremely cool. We found higher levels of disparity in extinct forms, but lower ones in extant species. Since angel sharks display a highly specialized prey capture behavior, we suggest that the morphological integration and biogeographic processes are the main drivers of their diversity, which might limit their capacity to display higher disparity since their origin. So this is an extremely cool paper by Fabiel A. Lopez Romero, Sebastian Stumpf, Catherine Pfaff, Giuseppe Marama, Zarina Johansson, and Jürgen Kriwet. So again, this is called Evolutionary Trends of the Conserved Neurocranium Shape in Angel Sharks. So what really caught my eye was this, where you can see how the angel sharks evolved, and you can also see how it's mapped to the world, and that there's these clades, like these little subgroups of angel sharks that are kind of geographically related to each other. So that's extremely cool. So let's take a look at this right now. So you've got this clade. Let's take a look at let's take a look at the orange one first, because this is where our species is. This is Squatina occulta, the orange clade. So Squatina occulta, Guggenheim, Armada, and David. So all of these guys live in South America, or around South American waters. And this group of, we'll call them just the orange angel sharks, they evolved and had a common ancestor pretty recently. So around 9 million years ago, if I'm doing that right. I don't know if I'm measuring that correctly. Maybe let's just say 10 million years ago. So 10 million years ago is when the group of orange angel sharks evolved. The blue ones, so these are the ones in North America, the Pacific angel shark, Squatina californica, which I was mistaken, they actually could be found in Canada, so my mistake. They go up pretty far north, actually. And then Squatina demeral, the sand devil, which is in the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, and mid-Atlantic United States. These are a pretty recent group of angel sharks that evolved maybe around 7 million years ago, which is pretty wild. Australian angel sharks are a little bit older, the yellow group, so that evolved at the beginning of the Neogene, it seems. Squatina africana, South African angel sharks, those evolved pretty far back. So it looks like this group came from the Paleogene, and then finally the red group of angel sharks. Its modern rise came at the late Paleogene, but still, it's one of the older groups. So these are kind of like the famous ones, like the classic angel shark, the Japanese angel shark, the clouded angel shark. This red group is actually interesting because it's in the Western Pacific and also Eastern Atlantic. So it's pretty cool to see this. So. Oh, hey, sorry, Howard, I just saw this. There were 2 fossil species of Hemipristis. Hemipristis curvatus from the Eocene and Hemipristis sera from the Oligocene to Pliocene. Really cool. So curvatus was the older one, and then sera, that's the one that, those are the fossils that we see in like the Chesapeake region, are the Hemipristis sera fossils, or Oligocene to the Pliocene. And that makes sense, because a lot of our fossils come from right in the middle in the Miocene, so that's actually really cool. So. Let's see. This is, speaking of cool, this is fantastic, where you can see this beautifully preserved fossil angel shark on the left, with a modern angel shark CT scan on the right. So, or an X-ray, I should say, X-ray. So the one on the left is Pseudorhina acanthoderma, and then the one on the right is Squatina africana, so one of the older groups of angel sharks. So that's actually extremely cool. And we'll take a closer look at the jaws. It's kind of hard to tell in this photograph. Beautiful fossil. Like you could only dream of this kind of fossil, because this is cartilage. It's not bone. So it's incredible that this was preserved as well as it was. Like, this is one of the best fossils ever. Just. So it's kind of hard to see. Like, you can still see like the trap-like jaw. I mean, you could still see like it's this wide angular shape, and you can see, man, you can actually see some of like, are these the hyoid arches? These are like, the pectoral fin arches. You could see the gill arches here. That's amazing, actually. You could see like the filaments for the fins, the vertebral column. Incredible preservation. And then by comparison, you can see the modern angel shark, which is pretty cool. It's kind of amazing to see how each piece of the angel shark's jaw is pretty disconnected. It looks like Meckel's cartilage, which is the lower cartilage, it's like each piece is kind of separate from each other, which is not how sharks usually look. Like, usually sharks, the lower jaw is like a fused shape. So angel sharks, it looks like the left and right pieces of the jaw look a bit more separate from each other, and they're held together by muscle. But a lot of sharks, like sand tiger sharks, they have just one lower jaw piece. So that's actually really cool. Yeah, this is a fascinating group of sharks. Like, angel sharks are just very, very interesting. This is really cool, kind of like a computer modeling of just the overall jaw shape and head shape. I'm sorry, not jaw shape, neurocranium. So kind of like the equivalent of the skull, for sharks. This is amazing. You can see how each one relates. So here's Squatina occulta. It's over here. It's actually not too distant from the Squatina dumeral, so the sand devil. Yeah, here's the fossil angel shark on the left, so you can see the modern ones on the right, as far as their similarity. One of the outliers is Squatina africana. Squatina californica, occulta, and dumeral, and Guggenheim, they're all kind of more closely related here. Pretty interesting. Squatina occulta and Squatina Guggenheim and Squatina armata, these are all very closely related here as well. This is so cool. This is a great study. This is really fantastic. And here is phylogeny of Squatina forms, so you can see how modern angel sharks evolved, where the two South American ones, occulta and Guggenheim, so our angel shark, the hidden angel shark, and then Squatina Guggenheim, they share a very closely related common ancestor, and both of them are actually kind of closely related to the sand devil and the Pacific angel shark. So they're actually, you can see them sharing kind of like the same clad here. This is such a great study, actually. I'm just gonna, I think, control find for occulta to see if there's any remarks on it. There might not be, but I do want to check really quick. Let's see if it's working. Demeril. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really mention it by name, so okay. Oh yes, Howard, astounding fossil, absolutely. Definitely agree. It's one that it's a beautiful specimen. I've seen there wasn't so the American Museum of Natural History in New York had this really cool temporary exhibit on sharks, and it did have a fossil angel shark. I don't believe it might have been that one. I don't believe it was that one because I think the fossil that I saw was like vertical, but it still is like kind of like a similar sediment preservation kind of thing. It's super cool. Like it's just such a rare treat to see like cartilaginous fish fossils. So I think the jaw type allows the shark to gulp down large prey items. Yes, absolutely. Which is really cool because like the disconnected pieces allow for it to swallow larger prey. So it's just super cool. Let's see. I think this is a checklist, if I'm not mistaken. Ichthyofauna of the inner shelf of Piranha Brazil. So I'm just gonna scan to see if our angel shark, occulta, is mentioned in any detail. It is on the checklist. It's noted as critically endangered. Vulnerability is very high, or high to very high. So that's all the information on that. So we'll kind of keep moving. Alright. You can accept all the cookies. Yum, yum, yum. Here we go. Molecular identification of shark meat from local markets in southern Brazil based on DNA barcoding, evidence for mislabeling or trade of endangered species. So this is a field that I would say kind of grew maybe in the past 10 years, maybe older than that. But its DNA barcoding is really cool, where as an effort to kind of monitor if illegally species that are illegal to catch, harvest, or trade are somehow being poached or traded, especially in like shark fin markets, like in Hong Kong or other parts of Asia. You can take a tissue sample of some of the traded shark fins or some of the traded shark meat and get a quick DNA sample and analyze it. And the effort is trending in this direction of making that process quicker and quicker and quicker, so you can kind of easily identify, vulnerable species or endangered species or species that are listed on sites. So the Conservation of International Trade of Endangered Species, sites is like if you cannot harvest or capture or land or trade any of the site species, including sharks. There are quite a few sharks that are listed as sites species. So, but yeah, it's a technology that is just getting better and better. It's probably going to take a long time before it gets to the point where it can be implemented extremely quickly. But still, studies like this are really important. It's a very interesting field, and it is getting better and better. So. Let's see. We've got the hidden angel shark was one of the species identified in this Brazilian market. The most common species were blue shark, scalped hammerhead, which is critically endangered, the Brazilian sharp-nosed shark, the copper shark, or bronze whaler, the silky shark, the smooth hammerhead, the short-spined spur dog, school shark, which is also not doing so well, the Caribbean sharp-nosed shark, the Cuban dogfish, the hidden angel shark, the spiny angel shark, also critically endangered, as well as rays and guitarfish. So. This is kind of more about genetics, so we'll kind of keep looking. I just want to, just so for the sake of time, just want to get quick facts on the species. And I think just kind of scanning this is saying that the hidden angel shark and Squatina guggenheim, they're both closely related species, and genetically, when you do the barcoding, you can maybe confuse the two, but it makes sense because they occur in the same range. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll kind of keep looking. Oh, here's one. This is kind of interesting paper. So, the southernmost range limit for the hidden angel shark, Squatina oculata. So let's see. Angel sharks are distributed in the southern southwest Atlantic Ocean between southeastern Brazil and central Patagonia. The endangered hidden angel shark, Squatina oculata, is reported in the literature as ranging from Espírito Santo, Brazil, to southern Uruguay. Its presence in Argentine waters has been suspected but not verified so far. This study describes and analyzes a specimen of Squatina oculata found in Puerto Quequén, Buenos Aires province, Argentina. It's an immature male, 578 millimeters, and 1.4 kilograms, so this is a small, little guy, was collected from commercial landings of bottom trawl fishery in Puerto Quequén. The specimen exhibited the coloration pattern, dermodentical distribution, and two formula characteristic of the hidden angel shark, Squatina oculata. Conclusions are that Squatina guggenheim and Squatina argentina are already known to occur off of Puerto Quequén. The present finding confirms the presence of a third species of angel shark in Argentina, constitutes the southernmost record of Squatina oculata. So this is a cool, probably like a short report, but it is really important because it's extending the range of the species, which also extends conservation protections that might be needed in that area for the species, or the fact that the species occurs in a larger range might be informative for bodies like the IUCN Red List to kind of identify, hey, maybe the shark has a larger range than we thought, maybe it's doing slightly better than we thought. I personally doubt it. It's probably still doing really poorly, but nevertheless, this is really important research. This is actually a really important finding, just so we have the most accurate view of how the hidden angel shark is doing. This is by Maria Laudres Estales, Gustavo E. Chiaramonte, Vicente V. Faria, Diego C. Luzado, and Juan M. Diaz de Astarloa. Okay. I'll just kind of scan this, see if there's anything new. This is actually kind of cool. 20 species of angel sharks, so that's a nice summary of how many there are. So I kind of underestimated it. I said there was about a dozen, but there's actually 20 now. So. They're found inshore to the upper continental slopes. The similarity of external morphology among species led to different taxonomic hypotheses and misidentifications in previous literature. It looks like Squatina guggenheim, Squatina argentina, and Squatina oculata were all considered one species, and it was a mistake. This is again how the hidden angel shark got its name. So, Squatina oculata are recognized as valid species in this area in 1991. Genetics analysis supports the differentiation of the three species. Let's see. Okay, and here is, it's kind of interesting. So here was the individual that they caught, and this is again, your art, Howard, was really great because this is like this captures like the dark background with the light spots. So once again, like really cool capturing of the species in life, with the light spots and like the nice bright orange, or not bright orange, but like rich orange background. Because in death, all sharks, they fade in color, unfortunately, but in life, they're a lot more vibrant. But here was the individual that was caught. Pretty interesting. It looks like this was a male, where the claspers are not past the pelvic fins. So usually, and if I'm not mistaken, I can't tell if that is. I think that has to be the cloaca. I always thought that was an umbilical scar for a bit, but that's the cloaca. So, but neonate sharks, like baby sharks, in their first year of life, they have like a little. It depends actually on the species, but for live bearing sharks, and angel sharks are live bearing sharks, but I forget if they have a placental connection or not. But sharks that have a placental connection, they actually have like a little scar, like an umbilical scar, and it's a handy way to identify if they are young of the year, if they are newborns. So they do that for like tiger sharks and bull sharks. So, but sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. No. It's a nice shot of the head of this individual who's captured. And then this is actually kind of a cool, nice detailed view of the spiracles. So, the features that help the shark breathe when it's submerged in sand. So these are highly modified these are highly modified derivatives of gills that are large for certain shark species, like angel sharks, to help them breathe when they're submerged. But more importantly, these arrows are pointing to enlarged dermal denticles, which is a way that they use to identify this individual as a hidden angel shark. The dermal denticle pattern and layout is similar with other hidden angel sharks that have been captured, so they positively identified the species. But again, really great detail of the head here too. Okay. Okay, and this was just kind of like a quick report confirming that the species has a larger range than previously expected, so we'll kind of keep moving. I don't think there's a lot of new information. There was this one really cool paper that I wanted to review about coral reefs in general, but I also want to save time for the new VIMS shark list. Okay. This is another genetic study. Oh, this might be kind of interesting. I might kind of take a look at this because our angel shark is in this. So this is threats to sharks in developing country, the need for effective and simple conservation measures. I think it's kind of an important subject, so let's take a look at what this is really quickly. Reductions of shark populations produce negative ecological and economic consequences. Overfishing is a primary threat to these reductions. However, two other indirect problems can be mentioned as threats to shark populations: shark meat mislabeling and shark attacks. So, meat mislabeling goes back to that genetic study, that field of genetics I was talking about, where it's like we're starting to get better at barcoding, where you can take a tissue sample and get a DNA sample from that to positively identify sharks. This is a really great application of that, where mislabeling shark meat is a major issue, especially when there's places that sell things as other kinds of fish, but it's actually shark. I think flake if I'm not mistaken, is actually shark, but it's just there's like little moments like that, or like little just kind of marketing tricks like that. And it's actually shark meat you're buying. So, but anyway, in this study, we used Brazil as an example to focus on these three critical problems related to shark conservation: the lack of proper specific identification of landed species in the industrial and artisanal fisheries, shark attacks, and mislabeling in markets. We discussed these situations, highlighting brief examples and conservation barriers. The main goal is to present these problems and provide simple, effective solutions. On the fisheries side, the solution lies in having trained personnel at specific landing ports. Implementation of this practice would also aid in the solution to the mislabeling of shark meat. However, whenever this does not occur, supermarkets or any other final seller should be held legally responsible for the identification. At this stage, genetic techniques such as DNA barcoding must be used. Regarding the shark attack problem, the only truly efficient solution with no indirect effects is education and taking the matter to society rather than waiting until there's a shark attack incident. The government needs to invest more funds on educational awareness programs and research to avoid encounters with sharks. We must ensure that the society does not see sharks as villains, but instead as key elements in maintaining the ecosystem services that are so valuable to human well-being. So, this is actually a really important study. This is by Hugo Bornatowski, Raul Reno Braga, and Jean Ricardo Simoes Vitule. Kind of want to scan through this really quickly, because I see that our hidden angel shark is only mentioned once. Threatened species of Brazil. So, hidden angel shark, which is endangered. Nurse shark is threatened. That's Ginglyosoma serratum. Rhodontypus, the whale shark, is threatened. Sand tiger shark is overexploited. Basking shark is threatened. Porbeagle is threatened. It's kind of interesting to see. These are a lot of familiar species north of the equator. Let's see. Oh yeah, the oceanic white-tip shark is species overexploited. Night shark. That's the dagger-nosed shark. Is Isogomphodon. It's threatened. The hammerheads, so scalped hammerhead, smooth hammerhead, and bonnethead. Yep, these are all not doing well. So, I am curious about shark attack in Brazil. Let's see. The beaches in Recife, metropolitan region, northeastern Brazil, has been the site of shark attacks. It's mostly bull sharks and tiger sharks. Yeah, an organization of fishermen, shark attack victims, doctors, and engineers are acting to capture sharks, mainly bull and tiger sharks, in an attempt to end instances of shark attack. However, 2 endangered species were also captured and shown as potential shark attack species, which is horrible. Angel sharks are harmless. I'm sorry, nurse sharks. It says that nurse sharks and lemon sharks are captured, but those are harmless species, so... Although these 2 endangered species are known to the scientific community as not responsible for the attacks, they are being displayed as trophies to the population in an erroneous and irrational sense of revenge. Wow. These attitudes gained strength shortly after the shark attack. For instance, a recent shark attack in 2013 upon an 18-year-old teenager on Boa Viagem Beach, Recife, shocked the Brazilian population. In this case, the swimmer was fatally bitten by a shark. Less than a week later, the above-mentioned group of shark attack victims and colleagues, which had been inactive in their fishing activities, was reinvigorated by the general public opinion and started to indiscriminately hunt for sharks. So, this is actually really interesting, and as a note, that different cultures respond to sharks differently. There was a report, I can't remember, I think this was in the 10s, and it was documenting shark attitudes in Afghanistan in the aughts. But there was a bull shark that swam up the Euphrates River. I can't remember if it was Iraq or Afghanistan, but there was a bull shark that swam up a river. I thought it was Afghanistan, but I could be wrong. It might be Iraq. Yeah, no, it's the Euphrates River, so I think that's Iraq. But anyway, a bull shark was swimming up the river, was caught by local fishermen, and they published a news story saying that the Americans put the shark there. and that the scientist was 90% sure Americans put a shark there. And it's just complete nonsense, but it is really interesting, because of course, United States and Iraq, horrible war. It's interesting to see how cultural effects, the culture has an effect on perception, and at different parts of the world, like kind of do different things relating to sharks and how to, interact with them or what they represent and what they mean, and both this example and the the Iraq example. Let me make sure I got this right. So sorry. Euphrates River. I know it was in the Euphrates River. Iraq. Yeah, it was Iraq. So okay. Anyway, but it's unfortunately like a negative example of because like there's some cultures that revere sharks, like Polynesian shark culture. Is one of the big ones that reveres sharks, which is really cool. But there's some cultures that, like, stuff like this happens. And it's kind of sad that this revenge killing is happening in Brazil, where, they're going after bull sharks and tiger sharks, which are dangerous species, but they're also going after the nurse sharks and lemon sharks, which are harmless. Like, lemon sharks don't bother people. And nurse sharks, they will bite if they're provoked, but they're not dangerous in their own right. So, so it's just like, yeah, it's just kind of interesting. I think it's important to read about this and kind of like have an awareness of this, but because I think, sometimes a lot of like conservation narrative can be biased, where it's, there's an innate assumption that, all we're all on the same page as far as protecting these animals, and I feel like we should be, but different cultures could be on totally different perceptions on that. So it might be also worth mentioning the State Committee of the Prevention of Shark Attacks developed a method of catching sharks approaching beaches using drum lines and lawn lines, transporting the sharks to the continental slope, tagging them with acoustic and satellite tags, and then releasing them. Now that's a little bit better. The results have shown that once released, the sharks tend to continue their migration northward following the prevailing currents and do not return to the risk area. That's actually really great. This system, when operational, succeeded in reducing the rate of shark attacks by 97%, with a mortality rate for the tagged sharks of 15%. No mortality has been recorded for tagged nurse or lemon sharks so far. Now that is, like, on a positive end, really cool and really different. So this is shark relocation. So moving them out of the area, and they tend to swim away. That's actually really cool. It's also really effective because shark attacks are very astronomically rare. Like when you think about it, like the odds of that happening, versus the odds of like a car crash or an airplane crash or a dog bite. Like it's just such a rare event. So once you relocate the shark, then you might solve the problem, really. So that's pretty interesting. Also possible solutions are shark control programs, gill nets to reduce the number of shark attacks, as cited in the introduction of this article. This method has been applied in Australia and South Africa, and has proved effective reducing attacks on protected beaches. Yes, but also these programs can lead to the death of turtles, dolphins, fishes, whales, and mainly several shark species that are not harmful. Yeah. So I want to kind of skip forward to the summary because I don't want to lose time. Unfortunately, people have the power of nitpicking, so a simple way to avoid shark attacks is to respect the warnings posted along waterfront beaches and find safe areas to swim. And here we go. Warning signs are dispersed in all waterfront areas and reef beaches northeastern Brazil. Caution, avoid sea bath. Oh, actually, okay, I kind of like this. These are actually really great tips. I kind of love like the slight quirks in English translation, but these are great tips actually. So caution, avoid sea bath. It's so funny. In the open sea or in areas without the protection of reefs. At high tide, especially around new moon and full moon. That's actually really cool. Usually new moon I'm not sure about new moon, but full moon can correlate with spawning events, which are huge events where different animals like will breed, and with that breeding, it is a congregation of a lot of marine life and predators of that marine life, including sharks. So that's really good advice, actually. At dawn and dusk, so common times for sharks to hunt. At river mouths, very popular areas for sharks to exploit. In deep areas, level above the waist. In muddy waters, especially in rainy periods. If you are alone, if you are bleeding, if wearing jewelry or bright objects, after drinking alcohol. You know, so. Solution for many of the conservation issues regarding lazarynx already exist. Part of the solution lies in propagating science-based ideas to the lay society, that is, the information cannot be restricted to the scientific community. With the support of the whole society and therefore increased pressure on decision makers, it will become easier to implement conservation measures such as those proposed here. So, this is a really cool study. I'll post this in the chat too for future reading because it is really cool, and you know, I think it's a nice summary. Oh, can I not post this? It's a nice summary of. Oh, it's not letting me post it. Interesting. Okay. Well, it's publicly available and easy to find. This is Threats of Sharks in the Developing Country, the Need for Effective and Simple Conservation Measures. So, pretty cool read, and I think very topical. I mean, it's always topical as far as just, you know, sharks being misunderstood and needing, you know, kind of more of like a common. I shouldn't say that it's not that they're misunderstood. It's kind of more like, I mean, it is that they're misunderstood, but they're misunderstood in the sense that they're not being regarded as vital parts of the ecosystem or kind of a dipstick into ocean health. You know, they're being regarded only as food, and they're not being regarded as other things. You know, and they deserve a lot more respect and care. So this is a really good read, and I definitely recommend it. Yeah. So we have about 20 more minutes left, and it's another chart. We did see Angel Shark evolution, so I think we'll put a pin in that. But we have 20 minutes left, and I wanted to take a moment to kind of end tonight with a really cool tour of a great guide that it was a little hard to find, but it's the Virginia Shark Identification Guide, and I'm going to see if I could post this in the chat too, because this is just super cool, where it's updated illustrations by Mark Dando, and I think it's a great way to familiarize yourself with some of the species that are kind of in our backyard, and kind of like a nice. I had so much fun reading it because I kind of wish I had it, you know, when I was in college. But still, it's really cool. Vacation guide. It's not that one. It's not that one. I'm definitely going to post it in the chat because this was really hard to find. Vims does a lot of shark research. Download. And because they do a lot of shark research, it I will say their website is very confusing. You know, and like I love what they do, but it is quite confusing. There we go. Ooh, Howard, great question. Do more deep water species rise to the surface during a new moon? That's a great question. I suspect yes, but I actually don't know off the top of my head. Bruce, gradually and not all due, the largest migration in the world takes place every night as fish rise closer to the surface. Awesome. To feed and then back into the depths of hide. Yes, absolutely. So, but that's a great question so it does happen daily, but that's an excellent question, Howard, if it is more prominent in a new or full moon. That's an excellent question, and I'm not sure. I suspect definitely a full moon because, again, full moon is correlated with a lot of spawning events. I know in the bay, this sounds gross, but a lot of marine worms spawn under a full moon, but it triggers like a chain reaction of fish eating the worms and then sharks eating the fish. So So I definitely think that's possible. So, but yeah. As a heads up, guys, part of the reason I wanted to take a look at this is kind of like a nice little parting holiday present. I'm going to be out next week. I'm just going to be doing the holidays with family, so I won't be doing a stream next week, but we will have a stream the week after. But before we take a mini holiday hiatus, I do want to have a nice little kind of shift to Virginia sharks, just kind of looking at some of the species that we have in our backyard and commenting on them pretty quickly. And I shared the guide in the chat, but I think it'd be kind of like a fun thing to do before we head to the holidays. Also, Bruce, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for watching tonight. And I was asking Howard at the top of the stream if he was doing anything fun for the holidays, or has been doing anything fun for the holidays. If you're doing anything as well, please feel free to leave a comment in the chat. Yeah, so Virginia Shark Identification Guide. So, as I'm sure all of you know, I used to intern at VIMS, and I used to work with the shark lab at VIMS, and used to do like the shark research survey. So this is kind of near and dear to my heart, where I really appreciate a lot of the work that the Virginia Institute of Marine Science does. It's arguably the oldest shark research survey in the world. It does compete with UNC Chapel Hill, and shout out to UNC Chapel Hill because they actually also have an extremely old shark research survey, and it might be as old as VIMS. Not 100% sure about that, but I saw some of the oldest tags, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, this actually is as old as VIMS, potentially, so. We'll zoom in so we can just see the left page, which showcases sharks of Virginia. So this is not all of them, but this is a nice introduction to who we have in our backyard over here. So, but VIMS has done a lot of great work with sharks and monitoring the declines, and in some cases they're a slight rebound. Some of them are kind of coming back. VIMS over the past couple years did make an interesting comment about tiger sharks kind of rebounding a little bit. So we'll take a look. So. We got the Atlantic sharp-nosed shark. These are beautiful illustrations by Mark Dando. And it's actually really cool to see a different style of Mark Dando's, because he is famous for the Sharks of the World illustrations, which are kind of more like... I am tempted to say watercolor, but I'm not exactly sure. Like, he uses a different texture for the Sharks of the World illustrations, like a different medium for them. These are a little bit more richer, a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more round. And these actually, I think, are super close to Sharks in Life, so I really love this particular style that he does, so this kind of new style. So, but here's the Atlantic sharp-nosed shark. This is the first shark I've ever worked with, and the first shark I've ever held. Really beautiful small species in the bay. We've got the big-eye thresher, rare offshore species, which has kind of like this little possum face. If you look from the top down, the eyes are kind of bulging through the top of the head. So very unusual looking. So again, these are sharks off Virginia, whether that's the Chesapeake Bay or going further offshore. We got the big nose shark, which is not a very well-known, and it should be, but it's not a very well-known Parkeritis species. It gets the same from big fat nose, and sometimes it's confused with sandbar sharks because it has a big dorsal fin. It actually morphologically looks very similar to sandbar sharks, but there's a couple subtleties here and there that can tell the species apart. The black-nose shark, beautiful fossil species, a little black spot on it. So these are really cool. I know the Marine Lab has a really pretty sharks. Actually, if anyone has been to Atlantis in the Bahamas, they actually have a really cool marine life tank, including tropical species like the black-nose shark. Where it's like they come up really close and they actually have this like really pretty black spot on the tip of their nose. So this is definitely much more of a warm water species. It's very rare in Virginia, but it does live here, so or migrate here in the summers. The black-tipped shark. Now, something is happening in the Chesapeake Bay that is kind of alarming, where there's records of black-tipped sharks and spinner sharks. And that's unusual. I made, if some of you have seen it, my most popular video on YouTube is Sharks of the Chesapeake. and that correctly detailed 12 species known from the Chesapeake Bay. And blacktip sharks and spinner sharks were not one of those 12 species, because those species don't typically enter the bay. They typically spend time offshore, or not offshore, but like on the coast. They do migrate to Virginia, but they don't really usually go into the bay. And now they are entering the bay. There's actually, credible landings of blacktip sharks and spinner sharks inside the Chesapeake Bay. And it's alarming because these are warm water species, and it could be an indicator that the bay is warming as part of climate change. Another weird indicator is I went snorkeling, this was last year, and I found a lane snapper, which is a subtropical kind of snapper. It's not known from the bay at all. But I found a lane snapper off of Kipta Peak, which is part of the southern Chesapeake Bay. So that's also a warm water species that's kind of making its way northward. And then related to that, bull sharks, which have been known in the bay, they're starting to pup in North Carolina in Albemarle Sound, which is like unheard of. So it's like there's a lot of signs that, the water's warming, and it's not people making stuff up. It's real. It's happening. So the blacktip shark and the spinner shark are interesting potential indicators of climate change because they're actually coming into the bay, and they're actually becoming more of a staple of the bay's shark ecosystem. So, which is really weird. It's very weird for me personally because I'm not used to them being here. I'm not used to thinking of them being here. I'm used to the 12 classic species, and it's now 14 species. Blacktip sharks and spinner sharks, I feel more confident in, like, yep, you can consider them Chesapeake Bay species. So, but on a more positive note, this species, blacktip shark, undertakes one of the most famous migrations, shark migrations in the world, going from Florida to the Mid-Atlantic. This is the same migration as seen as in Blue Planet 2. This is the one that I think American news outlets are getting more and more keen on, as far as like they're kind of tracking it more. It's a fun news story because these sharks come right up to shore in Florida, and they're heading to the Mid-Atlantic every summer, and they come back to Florida every winter. So it's a huge migration that they undertake every year. So really cool species overall. Got the blue shark, beautiful classic like indigo species. Really the only shark in the world that has that. Maybe not the only shark, because I guess makos do also have a blue color, but one of the very few sharks in the world that sport such a rich indigo blue color on the back. So beautiful pelagic species. The blunt-nosed six-gill shark. Look how big it is. Here's the size chart. Comparing to a human. So the titan of the deep. It can be as big as a white shark, just massive deep water predator. The bonnethead Sphaenotabira, one of my favorite species, super fun, beautiful speckling on the back, great high dorsal fins, just classic shallow water species. I love bonnethead sharks. You can't go wrong with them. Bull sharks, which are known in the Chesapeake Bay. They have been implicated in... The only major shark attack in Virginia was off Virginia Beach, and it was this species. But there are also records of shark attack in the bay proper. They kind of date to like the early 1900s, late 1800s, but based on the location, they are likely bull sharks because they're, mesohaline, like low salinity areas, so only a bull shark can really do that. So they're here, and with warm water they're going to be more common in the bay as well. So the dusky shark, classic species that has a very slow rate of reproduction, also huge species. This is a great size comparison over here. This is the largest Carcharinus, which we covered it recently too. So oh, Howard, are we picking a shark for when we come back? You know what? We probably should, because that's a good point. Because episode 100, we know what episode 100 is going to be. So the next episode is going to be episode 99. So actually, if there's any shark in here that catches your eye, please feel free to drop in the chat. Or if there's any other shark that you want to cover in general, please feel free to drop it in the chat as well. So. the fine-tooth shark, Carcharodontis isodon. This is another one that really should get more attention. This is a species that lives in the United States, but no one talks about it. So this actually might be a good pick for when we get back. But it's a really cool, not well talked about cousin to sandbars and bull sharks. And it's here, and I believe it's endangered. I think fine-tooth sharks are not doing so well, but you can easily see it's a very different looking shark. Kind of a small, short face, big pectoral fins, low dorsal fin, very different looking kind of Carcharodontis. The great hammerhead Sphaenomacron, the extreme giant of hammerheads. Look how big it is compared to a human being. So don't want to mess with this species. Just screams intimidation. Just awesome predator. Great white sharks. They do live in Virginia. They are pretty uncommon. I don't want to say they're rare because one of my favorite groups, the Lynnhaven Dive Center, they did have a guy dive at the light tower and see a medium-sized white shark swim past. So they're in the area. They do migrate north and south. I would say white sharks are concentrated in Massachusetts and southern Florida, and I think in the Gulf of Mexico. I think that's kind of where you get the most pings on white sharks, but they do pass through Virginia and they do live here. And I would love to see one. I don't think my fiance would love me to see one, but I digress. The gulper shark, really rare deep water species, Centrophilus granulosus, so distant cousin of dogfish, or I guess it technically is a kind of dogfish. The lemon shark, beautiful, typically tropical species that does use the eastern shore of Virginia as lagoons as nursery grounds for pups, so just a really pretty shark overall. The longfin mako. So this is a cousin of the shortfin mako, but it has almost like blue shark-like pectoral fins, which are enormous. So this one is also not really talked about very well. So, oh yes, fine-tooth shark. Yes, for sure. Just saw your comment, Howard. Carcharodontis isodon. That is isodon, right? But yeah, that's a great one for next week. So let's do that. Or sorry, not next week. Next stream, which is 2 weeks from now. Let me make sure I got that right. It is. I'm 90% sure. Yes, isodon. Okay, fine-tooth shark. Perfect. All right. So that's a great pick. There's another one here. Carcharodontis porosus, a small-tail shark. I wonder if it's in the guide, because that's another rare one. But anyway, Asteris pacus. So it's virtually a mako shark with big fins, pretty much. And it's kind of cool to think about, like, mako sharks or short fin makos are described as like the perfect predator, and it's just like it's kind of cool to see like what differentiates this cousin, of the short fin mako, as far as like why does it have the larger fins and how does that affect its hunting strategy. So that's pretty cool. The night shark, Carcharodontis signatus. So this is a very cool species, a very interesting and actually pretty good sized Carcharodontis with these beautiful green eyes and uniquely pelagic distribution. I never realized that this was a shark that kind of lives in the open ocean in the water column. So I'd love to learn more about this species someday because I'm not really sure, and it is not doing well also, but I'm not really sure kind of what drives it. So as far as like what its biology is like, it's probably one of the rarer sharks in Virginia. So the oceanic white tip, massive predator, extremely dangerous species that I'm so glad that we covered this year. Also extremely gorgeous species with a beautiful like mix of colors like that. All of the base, the white tips, and then like the black tip, anal fin and second dorsal. Just awesome predator overall. The poor beagle, Lamnonassus, which I just realized, I should have known it's a cold water species, but I just realized I've been studying like temperature ranges recently, just for fun, and this is definitely a, kind of like a badass New England cold water shark that comes down here probably in the winter and spring. You know, doesn't really want to stay here too long. Really sharp caudal keels. This is a cool shark where it actually has two caudal keels, which is an unusual feature to help it slice through the water and get an extra burst of speed as it goes after prey. These are really cool because they're kind of like a cute smaller version of a white, or cousin to a white shark. So very cool. The sandbar shark, classic Carcharodontis plumbeus. This is a shark you've almost definitely seen in an aquarium, at least in the United States. Pretty much every aquarium I can name has this species. It's very easy to keep, and unfortunately, it's an endangered species. You know, it's slow to reproduce and slow to grow, but it used to be very populous on the East Coast, and it is kind of the flagship species of the Chesapeake Bay. And I would say if I had to pick a shark that is the flagship shark of Virginia, it would be this species. It's the center of so much research in the state and just in the Chesapeake Bay in general. And the Chesapeake Bay is this shark's primary nursery ground. You know, so the Chesapeake Bay area is where the shark pups, has babies, and you know, like carries out some of the most essential parts of its life cycle. So very, very important species to the area. Sand tiger shark, unfortunately critically endangered. A reef dwelling, a species that likes structure. So this one loves to be near shipwrecks. It loves to be near coral reefs. Has this really cool, fearsome appearance, but is honestly pretty docile, and another very popular aquarium species that gets along with sandbar sharks for the most part. So, actually, let me rephrase that. It gets along with sandbar sharks in aquariums, but it does eat sandbar shark pups in the wild. The scalloped hammerhead, one of my absolute favorites. Just a beautiful warm water species that is also critically endangered. It comes up here every summer, and I was fortunate enough to see one in the wild a couple years ago. So love this shark. And they get pretty big, pretty good size. The sharp-nosed seven-gill shark. Look how small this guy is. It's kind of cool to see how different this looks compared to the six-gill shark, because six-gill sharks are titanic. But the sharp-nosed seven-gill is a really cool, like, deep water species that is also quite rare in this area, but just has these really gnarly looking teeth and is just such a unique shape as far as sharks go. So. The short fin mako, the classic bullet or torpedo of the sea. Who was this? This was, I think, Abel. Dan? Is it Greg? What's his name? I have to look up who wrote shark biology. There was a recent shark biology book. Is it Dan Abel? Dan Abel and Dean Grubbs. Okay, so Dan Abel and Dean Grubbs are two shark biologists, and they said if they had to design the perfect predator, or if they had to pick a shark as the quote-unquote best, as far, which is a dumb thing to say, like they both said this is a really dumb contest and a really dumb thing, because all sharks are the best at what they do. They are all the top predator in their respective niche. However, if they really had to do a stupid contest where a shark is, you know, the perfect predator, they had to pick a single species to be defined as the perfect predator, they would reluctantly pick the short fin mako. This is incomparable as far as power, speed, efficiency of hunting. This is just, there's no other shark that tops it. So it's a really cool comment and a really cool nod of respect to this incredible, like, I think it's kind of like the Ferrari of sharks, or kind of like the like, if you had to pick like the tiger or cheetah of sharks, it really is this species. This is the sharkiest shark, you know, just based on that classic definition of being the top predator. So cool comment by them, and I appreciate the asterisks like abundant, where they're like, it's a dumb contest, you don't want to compare sharks like that because they're all the best at their game. So silky shark, Carcharodontis falciformis, one of the most graceful, beautiful pelagic species out there. Very popular with divers if they go off shore or near like oil rigs. This is a great species to see. Just graceful movements. The smooth dogfish, also known as the dusky smoothhound, Muscles canis, another species that actually pops in Chesapeake Bay. So Chesapeake Bay is a very important nursery area for this species. Another favorite of mine, this shark actually can change color. And I'm sure, I think I've probably mentioned that before, but if it swims over a light seabed, it will contract its skin cells to appear lighter. And if it swims over a dark seabed, it will expand its skin cells to appear darker. It's kind of similar to squid. It just takes much longer, but it's really, really unique among sharks. So it's also a cousin of the leopard shark on the Pacific. So really cool little guy. The smooth hammerhead, Sphena zygina. I always think of this one as like the toughest hammerhead because it has the largest range. It's the only one that you can find in Canada. So it enjoys cold water and has probably the widest temperature range of all the hammerhead sharks. The spinner shark, so this is the other one I mentioned, is coming into the bay and is a warm water species that usually doesn't do that. You can also tell that it looks extremely similar to blacktip sharks. These two species get confused quite often. And I myself have a hard time telling them apart, actually. Blacktip sharks I kind of feel like have more of like a sharper look to them. Spinner sharks share the black tips on the pectoral fins, pelvic fins, dorsal anal fins, and caudal fin. These numbers refer to features. So let me see how you identify the species. Distinct Z line on the sides, black tip on anal fin. So there's a Z. Okay, I can see this little Z line on the sides, and then I think true blacktip sharks don't have the black tip on the anal fin. Yeah, let's just check that really quick. Kind of curious about that. Oh, did I break it? No, I didn't. Okay, here we go. I actually really need to know the difference. I should know the difference between black tips and spinners. It's like I can feel it as far as like if I look at them, but I should be able to describe it. So here we go. Almost there. Blue shark. There we go. Okay, so black tip sharks. There it is. They do not have a black tip on the anal fin, but spinner sharks do. So that is the difference. So black tip sharks don't have that on the anal fin. They have a white anal fin. Spinner sharks have a black tip on the anal fin. That's actually really cool. That's probably if you are like in a shark circle, that's actually probably like a really good like cocktail party trick or something. Like as far as how do you tell the difference between a black tip shark and a spinner shark? Look at that. So I didn't realize that was unique to a spinner shark, the black tip on the anal fin. So that's actually really good. A parlor trick. That's what I'm trying to say. Parlor trick. So yeah. Impress your shark friends by knowing the difference between a spinner shark and a black tip shark. So that's actually that's a great trick question, or that's a great challenge actually to ask somebody. Because we're all lovers of sharks here. I'm sure we all know people who are fellow shark lovers or fellow fish lovers. That's a great question to ask them. That's a great challenge. Like, what's the difference between these two species? So it's very subtle. Spiny dogfish, also known as pike dogfish, they are here right now. I am very happy to see these guys back. These are sharks that migrate from New England and do really strong sexual migrations, where I think the females are the ones who are inshore right now. The males like to stay in deep water, but they do come into the bay every winter, and I always love seeing them come back. They're just a really cool group of sharks. They have like the slightly venomous spines on the back, and they just are super cool. So they're the bane of fishermen's existence. I love that they fight whenever they're captured. The thresher shark, Alopius vulpinus, so the classic thresher with very small eyes compared to the big eye thresher. Cool steely look too, and just that famous tail for whipping prey. The tiger shark. So you may have noticed we have all 4 dangerous species in Virginia, and the entire mid-Atlantic for that matter. We have the tiger shark, the great white, the bull shark, and the oceanic whitetip. All 4 dangerous species do live in this area, so that's fun. Virginia statistically is a very low incident of shark attacks. Nearby North Carolina, statistically very high. You know, compared to the rest of the world, North Carolina and Florida are kind of hot spots. All 4 species occupy both areas. So yeah, tiger sharks come into Virginia. They're getting maybe slightly more populous. They are warm water species, and it's kind of cool to see the size comparison. They're enormous. My favorite fact about tiger sharks is that they recently were reclassified into their own family. Their method of reproduction is just very different from other carcharaniforms, enough to say, okay, this is completely different from bull sharks and other kinds of sharks in carcharaniforms. Like, it's its own family. So it's a unique group of sharks, and very beautiful, beautiful group as well. And I think that's it. I think those are all the sharks. So yeah. Oh, let me go ahead and where I had that open. There we go. I wanted to end on Howard's art. So yeah. And thank you. Cool fact. Thank you so much. So. Well, honestly, like, this has been, I'm not going to do year-end announcements yet. I'm going to kind of push the timeline because I want to do something special for kind of like our last 2024-ish stream. So we'll take a brief holiday hiatus and then come back. I think probably stream 100 will be that special kind of party stream. So I'll save all the year-end stuff for that. But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a really fun one on the Hidden Angelshark, and it's been a really great opportunity to look at angel sharks in general and just kind of see what they're all about, see their differences in color pattern. I left a lot of links in the chat, so I hope you guys enjoy them, especially like that angel shark chart showing all the different species. And you know what? Do I still have it up? Because I do want to showcase it just in case Bruce... Yeah, there we go. Just in case you missed this, Bruce, this is actually a pretty cool chart showing all the different angel shark species. And I didn't realize it was that speciose. There's like 20 different kinds of angel sharks in the world. More than half of them are endangered or critically endangered, so it's a group that definitely needs more attention. Oops. Sorry, I just got a little notification on my computer. Sorry about that. But it's a group that definitely needs a lot more attention, and I'm really glad that we could showcase one of the critically endangered species tonight. I think it's a really good one to focus on before the holidays. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. It's really great to be here with you, and I really hope you continue to enjoy the holiday season and have a really great week next week, and also, I mean, throughout this week as well. Again, I will be gone next week, just spending some time with family for the holidays, but I'll be back for stream 99 for the fine-tooth shark, and then stream 100 for the infamous great white. I think it's the one that we have to do for stream 100, because it's amazing we've come this far at 100 streams at this point. So, and I'm really glad just to share that with you guys and be here with you. So, but Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I just hope you guys rock it. And we'll tune in for the fine-tooth shark, not next week, but the week after. So stay tuned for stream 99, and just Happy New Year, guys. See you soon. Bye.